Hey YouTube, I know some people out there have been watching some of my videos, and I just wanted to give you a little tip on how you could swim your jig effectively, and a few little tips that may help you out in terms of modifying your jigs. Um, First of all, this is one of the first jigs that I started swimming, if you will, a jig with through grass. It was introduced to me about 3 years ago at a tournament on Lake Champlain, a bass event where I met a pro out of Maryland, Don Haskins, and he pretty much taught me how to swim a jig. And I've just taken it, and I do a few little things a little differently since I first learned. And here are some tips I can give you on what to look for when you're looking for a jig yourself. One of the first things you want is a jig that has a very pliable weed guard, because when the fish chomps down on it, you want it to depress easily. Secondly, I like something that has a really nice fluid skirt. This one does. It's made by Net Bait. And then I like the rattling chambers that come on the net bait, and that's what I'm going to show you, how to modify other jigs with that. Secondly, or thirdly, or fourthly, or wherever we're at here, you want a bait that has a pretty good hook keeper. The net bait doesn't come with a great one, but it does have a little bit of a notch there, but a lot of them have a really sharp, angular piece of lead there that really hooks on. And then you want a very heavy gauge hook. I don't like a wire hook with a swim jig because I use braid, and that that type of hook will usually straighten out. These are some of the swim jigs that I use. If you look closely, you can see that this one here especially has almost like an aerodynamic head, so as it comes through that grass, it just deflects off. Most of the grass I fish is vertical, so it comes through the grass, it deflects off, and if it gets hung up in the grass, I'm snatching it off of there, and that causes a disturbance, which a lot of times will make fish attack it. One of the first things I do, which I've already done to this, I trim the weed guard. Now you just do that with a pair of scissors. Just pull the amount of fibers you want to cut off the jig and just snip them off, and your weed guard is trimmed. Secondly, you want to make sure that you have a good hook keeper on any jig that you get, and if you look there at that bait, you can see it has a really good notch and a very heavy gauge hook, super sharp. This right here is a dirty jig, I believe, and then this one that you're looking at here, this is a Renegade. Renegade has two bait keepers on it. They are really wicked, really good bait. I caught a lot of fish on this in Florida last month, so it will be getting work again. So what I like to do is I like to add that rattling chamber that I showed you earlier to my jig after I've trimmed the weed guard and so forth. So I'll show you how to do that. They sell these bands at Tackle Warehouse. You can go online and pick them up. So you need a band first, and they sell these rattling chambers. So you're going to need 2 of those. So what we're going to do is connect up these chambers onto the band. Most of the swim jigs that I throw are in the 1/4 ounce, 5/16, 3/8, or a half. If I need to go to anything over that, I'm throwing a football jig usually. So this right here is the 5/16. I like that because when it gets down in the grass, it's kind of easy for me to pop it loose, and it doesn't bury in the grass. The lighter jigs will tend to land on top or go down in them a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to slip this over that big hook keeper there if we can. There you go, it's over. And then you push it all the way up. And what I like to do is turn it so the bands are equally out on each side. So now you can hear that, and as it hits stuff, it'll make that noise. I trim the skirt a little bit just so it doesn't interfere. Then I just put a trailer on, which you've seen probably in a million other videos on here. Make sure that it's centered first. Go up the bait as far as you should, and then make sure that you come back out the middle, which you did perfectly, and then you push that up onto the bait, and there you have it. There's a typical swim jig that I use, is an Alabama crawl color. This probably will work just about anywhere in this color here. I use it in some clear water situations in Florida where I'm fishing grass that's known as ribbon or eel grass, and tend to catch some pretty decent fish out of them. This will also catch numbers. You just won't catch your big fish. You'll catch medium size or small fish with it. I mean, I catch anything from dinks to, major size, almost world-class bass with this bait. It's even worked in some tournaments that I've fished. I've caught a couple fish with it, but most of the time in the tournaments that I fish, when I'm fishing grass, I'm frogging, and pretty deadly with that. So there's a jig there again. It has a nice nice size. I think perfect size, what a fish would want. They either think it's like a bluegill or they think it's a crawfish. I would tend to think they think it's a crawfish, and if they're on this bait, they're really going to eat it. And with that one hook you're getting in them, big gauge like that, usually you're getting it deep down in their mouth, and they're getting it down in the side of their mouth. I don't really catch too many fish where they're hooked perfectly in the top or the roof of their mouth, but from time to time that happens too. But when the fish come up and get this, a lot of times it's like a side action, I think, where they grab it and they really smash down on it because they think it's a crawfish. They don't want it to pinch them in the mouth, and you with a nice sweeping hook set, you usually get them. So there you have it. Again, different types. Really, the most important thing again is that your bait keeper, really nice bristles, and a super strong hook. That's what you want. Any quality jig will have that. All these jigs here, I believe, are sold at Tackle Warehouse. The net bait is. The Renegade sold at Tackle Warehouse in that bluegill color. They sell an array of dirty jigs, and I believe this is a jig also from Tackle Warehouse. Might be a Santone or something like that. And then any type of trailer that you want to use. I mainly use crawl trailers, even though from time to time I will use a swim bait type of trailer on there. So keep watching the videos. When you see me pulling fish out of the water with a jig, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a setup just like that. And just about all my jig fish are caught on that right there. So good fishing, and I'll see you out there. Thank you.